So what does this do? Oh, no, nothing.
We're live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. I'm Abs of October Red, and I am honored, privileged to be joined by not just a boxing coach, but what I'd class as a friend, Daley Perales. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah. Same old me. Teaching.
I need to know about, is it Kelz? Do we call him Kelz? Because I'm trying to get on top of the Misfits. I'm gutted that I can't make it up there, but they always do it in odd locations like Newcastle. It's a mission and a half.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to be cold as hell up there. But anyway, talk to us about your fighter, because I've never seen him before. And I'm a bit behind on the Misfit stuff, to be honest.
Well, he's a heavyweight, and the way he looks, like his physique, is almost identical to Joshua.
Oh.
Actually, he's done a picture. The latest picture Joshua just posted of him sitting on a chair with his hands like that. He replicated it today, so I think he's going to post it soon. But it looks, when you see the picture, it looks exactly the same. They're both Nigerian, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they're the same height as well, because Kelz is 6'6".
Oh, he's a big guy then.
Yeah. He's a big guy. Obviously, he hasn't been doing boxing for long, but as you know, in this world and in this space, they have to learn on the job, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the same thing as Kenny, the same thing as Deji and all those. You know, it's all about just, yes, they've got a fight, but it's about also after the fight progressing and staying in the gym and being a student of the game so they can progress.
So how did it come to be in your camp? Because obviously those of us that know, you've got professional fighters, but you've also trained your brother, King Kenny TV. You've also trained Deji as well for the Floyd Mayweather fight. So we know that you've been in it for a minute. But how did Kelz come to your attention? Because this is what I'm like, where's he come from? And how did you get hold of him?
Well, at Kenny's last fight, the first time I came into contact with him was in Kenny's last fight, where he knocked out Adam Brooks, and he come up to me out of nowhere and says, I'm gonna train with you one day. Like that.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, okay, all right. So I was like, not paying it really any attention, not in a rude way, but I'm like, you know me, I like to keep my stable small as well.
You do.
Yeah, he must have manifested it, because he rang me up and said, yeah, he's fighting on Misfits. I know you're busy, I know this and that, but can I have your help? And you know, because he's Nigerian, I'm half Nigerian, you know, Kenny's Nigerian, Deji's Nigerian. I thought, might as well I had to help out another Nigerian.
What are you going to do when a Jamaican comes in?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, don't forget us from the diaspora.
I won't.
So what's it been like to train? He's just popped in there, actually. He's just said, hey, so I've just told him, just jump on. Obviously, he's got the link. Okay. So, okay, let me just message him. He's in the chat. Daley sent you the link.
No, I never. Send him the link.
Oh, you got, okay. Daley's going to send you the link, and then, you do it. You can do it while, in fact, no, I'll do it.
You do it. Yeah, do it.
He's saying he's got no link. Daley, you're so naughty.
Yeah, I forgot.
Right, let's send him an invite. It's on its way to you as we speak. Luckily, I've done this before.
Yeah.
Because I need to talk about the Nando's. I need to find out everything that's been going on. Yeah. You know, because I did reach out to George, obviously Tob's coach. Yeah. Obviously, I've spoke to him before as well, and obviously he trained Ash as well, Ash Raksu. So I was like, yeah, if we, jump on. But I think they're going to jump on later. Because me, I was hoping for like a little coach's corner, a little clash. Yeah. Obviously, you've had fighters go up against each other before. And I was like,
yeah.
Well, let's create some problems. Yeah. But yeah, it never happened. Because I think they're waiting to do some media. So
Yeah. Don Charles is Don Charles used to be my pro fighter as my pro trainer as
Did
well.
he?
Yeah, yeah, and he's helped out Kelz as well. You know, he's Nigerian as well.
See, you're doing this. You're doing this. Well, stand up Nigeria.
Yeah.
Green and whites. Stand. In fact, look at this. Green and white, actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
That is
Nigerian.
unintentional, by the way.
So yeah, that's nice. And yeah, so Don called me and said, "Do you mind, you know, looking at him?" You know what I mean? So he invited me down to Don's new chip gym as well, which is
Is it nice?
unreal.
Really?
Yeah, unreal, because the way they've done it is like training camp vibe.
Oh.
You know, it's got a sand pit in there as well.
Sandpit.
Oh, running,
Yeah,
running.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like a little mini sort of track.
Yeah, track of sand in the gym, like not
Legs.
far from the boxing ring and stuff.
Yeah.
It's in like a converted barn, I think. It's got like military course outside, everything. So yeah,
He ain't playing about, is he?
yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So yeah, I went down there just because obviously I needed to get to know Kelz and stuff like that, and see what he's about. And yeah, I mean, at this stage, obviously, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because like I keep telling people that when you're pro boxing,
yeah,
you're and unless you've gone down that route of you're an Olympian and you get signed to a big promoter and you're on the undercards of big shows straight away, 9 times out of 10 you're in small hall shows in front of 1,000 people, and you're getting progressed. If you're a prospect, you're getting progressed and you're learning against journeymen and stuff like that. Whereas the influencers, they're basically going in there with no experience. Well, yeah, they are with no experience, no background in boxing, and they're getting chucked in front of thousands of people, not just in the arena, but media.
Viewers online, yeah.
Online, yeah, media, you know what I mean? On the broadcasters, you know, it's crazy. You know what I mean? I actually think, I always tell people this, even though I've trained amateurs, I train pros, or even just, for example, Martin, I'll give him an example. I got him at the end.
Martin Poru.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's good. I got him at the end of his amateur boxing career and transitioned into a pro with me. So he's been with me from the beginning, but he's already had the foundation laid down from the amateurs. So it's easier to mold someone like that. Whereas someone like Kenny that came to me with no experience, nothing whatsoever, that's actually my biggest achievement, doing something like that.
Right. So it's like having that one that you've had from the baby then, isn't it? Because obviously, Kelz, welcome to you. It's his debut. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just catching up, trying to get to know you. I've seen you in some farm boots. I've seen you step into Tobes in Nando's, trying to strangle him or whatever he was doing. You know, so we're trying to get to know you here. But congratulations on getting your Misfits debut.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And obviously, thanks, Daley, for sending me the link.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot, bro.
You were saying that this is like the Nigerian link up, even though I'm Jamaican. But I was saying, look, I'm still repping the Nigerian colours for you. So,
yeah. I appreciate that.
So what's it like being trained by Daley then? Because he's very experienced. He's had professional fighters, amateur fighters, Misfits fighters. He's got a good resume, Daley has.
Yeah, he does. I think that's the reason I approached him. We've had like, I don't know if he's mentioned this, we've had like a collab joint venture with Don Charles and Daley. So obviously Don Charles is training Dubois, who's got a fight next week. Good luck, Daniel. Shout out to Unks. And obviously Daley's been helping because Don Charles used to train Daley, so that collab made absolute sense. It was organic. But like Daley switched on. I think I don't know if he's mentioned this already, but when I saw him in April at the last Misfits event, and I like how vocal he is, and he was literally proper tuned in, better than stood up from the other coaches. And I did say to him, like, when I grabbed him, like, yo, like, you got any heavyweights? He was like, nah. But we're gonna work together. He probably looked at me like, "Who's this guy?" Bro? But obviously, do you know what it is? It's one of those things where you've got a big guy coming to you, like, okay, you like the idea, but like, can this guy really box? Or like, this is just another big guy. So I'm sure I could see it. I see his face, but I'm all about. I think from playing sports for so long, I'm all about the
Right.
opportunities come to you. So you just got to train for it and stay ready. I know my abilities. I know who I am. I know like any coach will be happy to have good clay to mold, so to speak.
I like that. But what I want to do, I just want to clarify, when you talk about unks, we're talking about Don Charles. We're not talking about Shannon Sharp, because we're not going to about to do
Nah.
any madness on the live today with
No,
cameras
no, no,
facing down
because
or whatever. Just
no,
I need to just clarify that, because the internet's been a bit wild this week. I know we're
yeah,
talking about debuts,
okay,
but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not our kind of debut. And unks is, for the purpose of this, Don Charles.
Correct. It's done, Charles.
You know what, Daley? I didn't actually know, and I've known you for so long. I don't ever remember you telling me about you being in the gym with Don Charles. I did not know that at all as a professional. That's mad.
It's crazy, man. There's even like I was actually on the train up here. I was showing Kelz like old pictures of me and Don
That's
in the
nuts.
gym on the pads together. I've got videos, everything. Yeah, you know what I mean? I actually went to Don Charles. I'll tell you exactly when I went to him. After I watched Derek Chisora versus Vitaly Klitschko.
Flipping heck.
And even though Chisora lost that fight, he gave Vitaly one of the hardest fights of his career and took him all the way to the distance. So I was like, wait a minute, what's this Don Charles all about? Because at that time, he's still trying to make a bigger name for himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just Derek Chisora, because I grew up with Derek,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up with Derek. So Derek told me, come down the gym and just talk to Don. And I went down the gym. I talked to Don Charles, and he says, to tell the truth, I haven't got time. I'm all my focus is on Derek. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
But he goes, you're happy to use the gym. So I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna use the gym. And I was on the bag. I was on the bag. Don was in the ring, and he called me. He goes, "Hey, Daley, come in the ring." After the first round, Don took off, stopped the session. He goes, "You know what? I made up my mind." He goes, "I want to train you."
That's Don Charles.
Yeah, and it went from there. And he trained my brother. He trained my older brother, JJ, as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Flipping it. And that's the thing with Don Charles. He's like that dad, isn't he? Once he gets hold of you, he really does look after you. It's like he's a very sincere man, and that's why I've always got a lot of time when I see him. I can give an example of it when I was at a press conference. I think it was Dubois versus I can't remember which fight it was. But obviously, according to your media passes, and I probably shouldn't say this, you've got certain access. And he was like, "How are you getting on?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I can only like stand outside this bit." And he just gave me his VIP. He went, "Now you can get where you need to go to." And it's like he'll look after you, and that's why you have to rate him as a person, never mind as a trainer, but just as a person. He's such a gentleman, and he's so kind. So it's nice that he was your trainer, Daley. He obviously, you've got that with you as well, Kelz. And now it's like, okay, I trust Daley to train you for your heavyweight debut. So I like that there's a little bit of a story to it, and I didn't know. So that's nice to hear.
Yeah. And I cannot talk to Don for about 6 months, but I know when we link up, it's just like yesterday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how it is with him. And you know what? I'm not going to name names, but and not in a bad way or disrespectful way.
No, I know what you're going to say.
Some trainers get given, the opportunities, and they haven't had to work for it. Whereas Don, he's had to work for everything from the ground up. Do you know what I mean? And it hasn't been easy. And I'm sorry to say, you can put race in there as well. For a black man, to come from where he's coming from Nigeria, Yeah, to put himself in English boxing is not easy to do.
Yeah. And like I said, that's the achievement that we can actually see. I'm going to go into the chat because I like to speak to the chat, and then I'm going to come back onto you, Kelz. Right. Chris is one of my regular subscribers. He's amazing. Shout out to Chris. I'm not the biggest fan of Misfits and influencers, but fair play to them for making those huge amounts of money from it. I've got to give it to them. As much as they're not my cup of tea. And believe it or not, that's a compliment coming from Chris, because he's basically saying pat on the back for just getting in there and doing it. Tony says, big up my fellow all-stars gym trainer extraordinaire, Daley. And that's from Tony the pugilist.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I've got to ask Kelz, why boxing? I know you mentioned about the sports, but you could pick any sports. I can see that you're athletic. I've had a look at your profile. Why boxing? Misfits or not, you're still going to be punching someone, and you're still learning the trade.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think my whole MO is just always looking for challenges. I remember when Misfits first came on the scene, and I saw like Chase Demore on it, who was on like the second season of my show. Yes. Was the first season. And I was playing American football, and I was, I've always been in the gym because I love training for sport. It's never been for bodybuilding. It's been like, hey, squat heavier so we can run faster, jump higher, do this, just be more athletic. And I like challenges. So after American football finished last season, I won that challenge, and I think I was watching the heavyweights at Misfits, and it just wasn't, we had the champ Temple Arts in April start the Misfits fight, right? You started it. You're a heavyweight, you're a champ. You should be a main event. So I feel like heavyweight in normal boxing is like the pinnacle of boxing, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's big, it's sexy, it's attractive, and I looked at Misfits, and I feel like heavyweight division in Misfits was just like an afterthought. It's an afterthought, and that's the reason I want to come in with like, okay, what happens when you've got all these YouTubers and whatever fighting? What happens when you put an athlete into that environment? And that's what I want to come do, just to rebrand it, be the new face of it, and like make it sexy, make it a main event. You know what I mean? I've got plans for that I want to achieve as well. So that's the reason. It's hard, it's difficult, it gives you purpose. Like it just helps you reinvent yourself, and that's what was the name of your loyal subscriber? What's your name?
Chris Welsh.
Yeah. So Chris, like, obviously, I know you're not a fan of Misfits and influencers, but what you can understand is, like, forget the money that Misfits is making. You've got a bunch of individuals who, for a living, create content, do whatever, put themselves out there, but they're literally reinventing themselves. Not in reinventing themselves to play like football or whatever it is. They're reinventing themselves and doing one of the hard sports, one of the most dangerous sports in the world. And Aristotle says you are what you repeatedly do. So excellence is nothing but a habit. So these guys they might start off as influencers, but they train, they do the running, the jumping rope, they do the boxing, they do all of that. And eventually, look at El Brook, eventually you become what you are aiming to be. And how do you become a boxer? What's the meaning of a boxer? Is it not to train and eat like one, to live like one, to watch the same tapes? You're living the same life as a boxer. So I like Misfits because it shows it's never too late to reinvent yourself. It's never too late to put yourself into those tough, difficult decisions. Yes, we can all sit from the sidelines and be like, I don't like this. But don't compare it to boxing. Compare it to what it is. It's a couple of people putting themselves in difficult positions and just trying to compete and win. And I think so many of us don't really do that in everyday life. I think we're all comfortable in doing what we know and what we do every day. Like, you ask yourself why Misfits, it's a challenge. People have been asking me to do boxing for so long. I didn't want to because I've got too much to lose,
Oh my days.
My mom's even said that. Now my mom said that. She goes like, but you know
I'm sure that's a Nigerian thing as well, You lot are vain as hell.
But
see, us Yardies, we're just rough and ready, but you Nigerians are like something else.
We just gotta stay fair.
You're gonna end up like Richard Riakporhe with pictures of Madonna on his lap and that, ain't you?
Oh my goodness. But like, yeah,
not if you want to win,
challenge. It's a challenge. I love a challenge. It's animal kingdom, innit? Kill or be killed.
I'm gonna go back to Daley. How's his training been going? Because listen, boxing is no joke. It's difficult. I know how you train your fighters. I saw what you did to King Kenny, your baby brother, when he decided, to start boxing. I know that you've not given them any easy way outs, any shortcuts, but this is your first heavyweight. So what's it been like? And I'm not asking for sparring secrets because I know you would have been sparring, obviously. But what's it been like to train a heavyweight, train Kelz to pop his boxing cherry?
Well, I've only had a short amount of time, but with me and Kelz, I think the most important thing right now is not actually the training. It's more about the discussions.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? It's more about, talking boxing, talking about the mentality. And he knows that anyway, because the sport he's been in, you know what I mean? But but there's things in boxing that people don't know about, when it comes to ring walk, when it comes to the smallest things, when you get a knock on the door with the whip coming in and saying, you're on in 5 minutes. And then
psychological. Come on.
all those feelings that you get, nothing that you ever experience, in everyday life. It's just something different, you know what I mean? So it's more important to talk in that kind of way to Kelz.
I hear that.
He knows what I'm about as a trainer, and he knows the things I've told him what needs to be done at this stage when it comes to his boxing and his fundamentals and stuff like that. And then it's all about progressing from there. As you know, with put my professional boxers to a side, if you use Kenny as an example, he hasn't had no easy fights in there, and he's lost a couple. But those ones that he lost, you need, believe it or not, that's going to help him long term.
Yeah, of course it will.
Which it has. When he lost the first one he lost, he came back in devastating fashion.
I remember watching it.
Yeah, and then the second one he lost, he came back in devastating fashion, because these are all lessons. When you have an amateur boxer, for example, the one that's just turned pro with me, Hamza, he had 84 fights, 10 gold medals, back-to-back ABA champion, but he still lost 20 times. So effectively, these influencers are like amateur boxers. They're gonna have
test in the water.
Yeah, they're gonna have situations where it's gonna test them, and they're gonna have to show the right mentality to bounce back. Even if it's not losing, even in a fight, there's gonna be situations where they have to come out of that situation, and their coach can't help them in those situations.
You're on your own.
They have to find a way. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the most important part of at this stage for Kelz, is just to understand about boxing. Do you know what I mean? And that's it.
Kelz, back to you then. What would you say that one of the most important things, or even a couple of important things that you've learned so far? Because to me, Daley's hit it on the head. Because if I'm thinking like you, if I was to step in the ring, those would be the things that I'd be thinking about. That knock on the door, that ring walk, listening to the people. But you haven't fought yet. So far, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned, or a couple of things that you've learned so far for your debut? And not about keeping your face pretty either. Because the way you've been winding Tobes up, you might want to change that.
I would. I know. I think it's probably just discovering my style. I think it's like, we talk about the knock on the door. We talk about. I think this morning we were going for a run, and he said, "Oh, like your legs are gonna feel like jelly and stuff like that before you go in and stuff like that." And I was like, I didn't say nothing. In my head, I was like, "No, they won't." But like, okay, cool. If they do, at least I've taken this on board. I think I'm very good at putting things into a box in my mind. I'm very good at
compartmentalizing.
Yeah, I'm very good at that, and I think for me, it's just sharpening my mind. Just sharpening my mind, because I think the toughest thing is just like, I don't know. I'm just here to do a job, and you know, you can be as confident as you want to be and you're as strong as you want to be. But like obviously a human being that you have doubts coming up in your head, you know, like what if that scenario goes wrong? What if that scenario goes wrong? So I think for me it's also been mental, just keeping it just like just, you know, when that doubt comes, yo, relax. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why Kobe Bryant says it so well. Well, doubt is just such a strange thing. Do you know what I mean? Whether we all win or lose, and you know, if you lose, okay, tough. If you win, well, tough. Tomorrow you're gonna have to do it all over again anyway. So I think when people all this week and last week, hey, Kelz, you're going to Misfits, you must be excited. Like, Kelz, how do you feel? How do you feel? That's a common question. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? And to be honest, probably one of my reasons why some of my relationships haven't gone too well. My emotional intelligence is like, what's feelings got to do about it? I'm just here to do a job, you know, and the job's not done yet, so there's no reason to celebrate. Just stay sharp, stay strong, and just get the job done. And you know, ask me afterwards how I'm feeling. You know.
It's interesting you say. I never ask how you're feeling really, because does it matter? Feelings are interchangeable. But you know, when you just said about like that's probably why your relationships don't last that long. Are you somebody that sees things like everything's an object, everything has a purpose, and I don't really need to get too entangled in it? And
you know what?
Yeah, because that's a mad comment, like to say like relationships. It's like, do you like then use things for what you need from them?
You know, it's
Kind of
funny you
thing,
say
which will
that
help
because
in boxing.
yeah, because there's a book called Relentless. Have you heard of that? Relentless.
Who's
But Tim Grover, From Good
no?
to Great to Unstoppable, and he trained Kobe Bryant and MJ, and I think Daley's heard me talk about him. He says there's certain types of people. There's cleaners, there's closers, there's coolers. MJ and Kobe Bryant's were cleaners, just cool, composed all the time. Cleaners look at people and things as objects, as tools, because they don't rely on a lot of people to keep the circle very small, right? But I'll pick up someone. Okay, I don't know what I need you for yet, but I'm gonna keep that puzzle piece. If you let me down, you won't let me down twice. I'll just keep it moving. But if I do call on you, my friends know it, and my friend, that's why I have a small circle of friends. I call them when I like, it's purpose driven. Do you know what I mean? I do sometimes have to remind myself, hey, cool, just to say, hey, how you doing? But like life for me right now and where I want to go is just things just need to get done. And I don't look at people or females or anything as objects at all. But when I say like my emotions, it's more like I'm a very logical thinker. So my emotional intelligence has been quite low just because of upbringing and things like that. So when you want to have a conversation with me, I'm more about the logic. If you speak to me in logic, I can understand logic. So I've had to kind of teach myself a bit of empathy in terms of the feelings and getting things done. Like because you got to think about before Misfits, when I'm getting practicing or trying to get ready for Misfits in January, before I even knew I was going to go on there, and I said, you know, I'm going to go on Misfits, I'm going to manifest it. I was out there running in the cold when it was snowing. I was doing ice baths outside when it was 2 degrees. I was like, had my throat all dry and stuff, running in the rain. Like, feelings got nothing to do with it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to do this. People always ask me, hey, Kelz, how do you stay so motivated? How do you do what you do? Feelings hasn't got, I don't want to do any of this, but you got to do it anyway. So feelings, me and my relationship with feelings is like, hey, Kelz, I don't want to go in this ice bar. Well, we're doing it anyways. Hey, Kelz, I don't want to go for a run. Well, we're going to do it anyways. Hey, Kelz, I don't want to really step in the ring. Hey, we're doing it anyways. So I think that's just how I deal with feelings, you know?
No, I hear that. I like that because, like I said, it's good for boxing because in the sport, as Daley will tell you, that you know you can win, lose, or draw. And I'm one of these great believers in your true characteristics are shown when you lose. So having that mindset, I believe, is extremely important because that mindset may come in handy for you one day. It's good that you can be quite matter of fact. I don't know, Daley. What do you
And
think
that's
based on what
you know,
Kelz has said?
you talk about losing. That's funny you said that because I remember sitting with my team, yeah,
Okay.
with Reese and Matthew Hake, my cut man, and it's when Kenny lost for the first time, right?
Yeah.
We were all sat there in the lobby of the hotel. Kenny goes straight to his room. Me and the team, we're sitting there pissed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're winners. You understand? And we're
Yeah.
analysing everything. And at the same time, we're trying not to be too harsh because he's still learning and he hasn't got any experience. But at the same time, we're just analysing everything. We're talking everything over as a team and stuff like that. And I'm like, we're looking around and we're looking at each other. And we're like, what are we looking at here? Why is everyone, we're seeing people that have lost fights on the show.
Yeah.
And they're all there, happy, smiling, joking around, wanting to go party and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, what kind of mentality is that? Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. So when you were talking about like losing, I'm talking about like the real ones know what needs to be done after a loss. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not saying you can't go out and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, like, immediately after the fight and that everyone's back at the hotel from the arena, then everyone's just acting like they haven't just lost the fight. I find that very weird, man. I find that very weird.
When you look at go on. Yeah, go on, Kelz.
I know you said like true character shows when you lose, right? I don't fully agree with that. Do you know what I say? And I'll tell you why that is, because I know they say losses help you build your character and stuff. I think if you've experienced loss in your life in general, that should help develop your character. And that kind of development helps you go into whatever mission you're trying to go with the mindset to win. I'm going to win everything. And I know people think maybe that's not realistic, but winning is what it is. I think true character is shown after a win, because it's the easiest way to get tempted. It's the easiest way to get put astray. Remember, Mike Tyson said, when God loves you, the devil loves you too, right? Most people you see that go off the rails, it's not because they've lost. They go off the rails because they've been winning. So to me, it's the same way Daley just said, after a loss, real people know what they need to do. I think after a win, you realize, just like, oh, hey, job's not done yet. Hey, Kobe, you've won 3 championships rings. You happy, tired? What's there to be happy about? Job's not done. I've still got 3 more to win. So I think when you, after a win, my mindset has always been, we used to say this in American football, even when we're ahead by points, the coaches still say, hey guys, it's still 0-0. Still 0-0. Still 0-0. Don't get complacent. So I think after a win, and Mayweather does that so well, doesn't he? After a win, like, I'll probably go back to the drawing board. I'll sit there with Daley. I'll sit there with the coach. And like, what can we do better? How can we improve? Because my thing is always constant improvement. Constant improvement. That's just how my mind goes. Constant improvement. Because the second you become complacent, the second you think you've win, you've arrived, that's when you get messed up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when my TV show first came out, Too Hot to Handle, and I was working in recruitment for 5 years. So I was making money there, but it was tough work. My TV show came out, and for the first time, I was like, I went from like 2,000 followers to like over 500,000 followers. And for the first time, I was like, and because the reason is because when you spend your time climbing a hill, a mountain, and there's no way for you to rest after climbing for so long, suddenly you have a bit of an edge where you can stand and look down and be okay, but it's not enough for you to be comfortable. You're still there. Do you know what I mean? So life is just continuously climbing. So I think real character shows when you're winning. How are you when you're winning? How are you when you're on top? How are you to people around you? How are you to people that other people don't think they matter? Do you know what I'm saying? You said yourself, like, about Don Charles, who said, hey, here's a ticket, VIP ticket. And I think legacy isn't just about winning. I think legacy is having people like me, you, Daley, have a story about someone to say who was there when no one's watching. Do you know what I mean? I think that's when real, because you can tell people who are real, who are fake, based on when they start making money and start winning, right? So I think that's when the true character is. That's when the devil comes to you and tells you, hey, you don't need that person. Hey, you're on the top. You're on the top. That's when the real temptation comes, isn't it? The devil doesn't come to you when you're on low. That's when everyone's praying, right? That's when God comes to you and picks you up.
I'll take that.
Do you know what I mean? So
I'll take that. I'm one for balance. I'm a Libra, so I'm all about balance. And I can definitely take what you've said on board. And when I talk about winning and when I talk about losing, I never relate it to boxing because I've never boxed. I talk about winning and losing in life, and that's something that you've just touched.
but that's what I'm saying. Boxing, for me anyway, boxing is life. And life, you know what I mean? I always tell my son, how you are outside the ring is how you're going to perform inside the ring. So if you're lazy making your bed, yeah, you ain't going to bloody go out there in the cold at 5 a.m. in the morning and do your run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. Discipline.
For example, yeah, if your room is in a mess and I've told you for the last 2 weeks to tidy it and you still haven't tidied it, guess what? When times are tough in the ring, you're going to be looking for a way out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So boxing is life. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, and then when I was talking about the loss, boxing's such a brutal sport.
It is brutal. Yeah.
Such a brutal sport that you get the kind of character that if they lose, they straight back in the gym on the Monday and wanting to put things right. But then you got the people that when they taste defeat, they can't hack it anymore. They can't hack it, and then they end up quitting. You know what I mean? You never. I remember this one guy.
Daley, why does that? Sorry to interrupt, but can you explain? You've dealt with different types of people in boxing. Can you explain to me, like I said, I haven't boxed.
Yeah.
What is it that makes certain people fold, and what is it that makes certain people dig deeper and think, I ain't letting this defeat me, like mentally defeat me? Do you understand?
Yeah. I personally think, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people that have gone on and got PhDs and, you know, or they're born into a rich family and all this kind of stuff, but that's only a small percentage that be able to pull that off. I honestly believe in this sport, especially where you can lose your life, right? You have to have gone through some certain kind of shit in your life.
In real life. I'm going to go back to Kelz because he's mentioned that. He's touched on that.
Saying. You have to have gone through hardship. You know what I mean? You have to understand, because if you go into those trenches in a fight and you haven't gone through hardship in life, you know, you ain't coming out of those trenches. When someone's got their head on your chest and they're punching you left, right, and center, or they're got their forearm under your chin, or they're giving you low blows and being dirty and rough in there, you're gonna look for a way out. You know what I mean? So boxing is brutal like that, man. It's there was this one guy, he kept begging and begging and begging and begging for a fight, right? And this is an amateur boxer.
No, I'm listening.
He weren't even about that life. Do you know what I mean? You could tell in his personality he ain't about, but he kept begging and begging the coaches and wouldn't leave him alone. So the coaches go, all right, you got your wish. We'll put you in a fight. He got knocked out in the first round. Never saw him again after that.
Serious.
Never, ever came back to the gym. Even to this day, that remains. He only had one fight, and that knockout loss. That's what I'm talking about the character. Only a certain kind of character can step into the ring and do boxing. And it ain't just about the fist, you know, it's everything that surrounds boxing. You know what I mean? It's like it's a different game. It's not golf. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nah, I hear that. Kelz, I'm gonna go.
Even in that sport, even in any sport. I'm not being disrespectful of golf. You know what I mean? They're not getting. They can't die in golf. Do you know what I mean?
Unless that ball clarks them in the head a bit too hard. But yeah, we digress. But Kelz, you've sort of mentioned it, like you've got this like fighter mentality, this kind of warrior spirit that's already there. And you sort of touched on something there. And like I said, you ain't got to talk about anything, but what have you been through that gives you that preparation, that mindset to know that you'll be able to take anything that comes forward at you?
I'll be completely honest. Like, so, all right. So, can I take anything that comes at me? I don't know. I know. Read of legends and read that people glorified. Hey, this person can take anything, right? And to be completely honest, I don't know what can take me. I know I can keep moving forward. I know, like, life's been tough. I was born in Austria, only black kid in school, racially abused. I spent a lot of time alone because in school they didn't really talk to me much unless unless it was like to help them with maths or like help them copy my exams or whatever it is. It was, but teachers would mark me down in English actually, and it's crazy because I'm the only one that speaks English here. My family's African, but obviously maths is the only thing that couldn't because it was factual. But you know what? It's like you move on. You know, I remember I was crying one time. I was cleaning the toilet. My mum was making me do chores. I was cleaning the toilet, and I was crying because I was kind of visualizing myself as an older version of me, and I was like, we need to make this because life is here, but we want life to be there. I think I don't know. I think that just strengthens you over time. You know, who knew that the kid in Austria would end up being on like a Netflix show, Global, or being on Misfits and stuff like that? It's surreal. So, to anyone out there, I know Daley says like you've got to do boxing. Boxing is so different than any sport, but boxing, I agree to some extent, but I also agree that life is like boxing, and I don't think you have to be a boxer to experience pain and loss. And I think
True.
everyone, all of us, each one of us are in that world. You know what I mean? We're all getting knocked down. We're all experiencing pain, injuries, death. You know, you have to just think about boxing is a personification of what life is. And you know, even if you're watching boxing and you're not a boxer, just, you know, the things you're going through, it's the same. It's no different than in the ring. And I know I haven't been in the ring, but like I've had sparring and stuff for that. But life has prepared me to want to step into the ring. You know, not boxing preparing me to step into life, which is, I know some people go from boxing
Yep.
and it helps them prepare to life. For me, it's been a
Yep.
complete reverse. And remember, every time, for every reaction, there's always an equal reaction. So for every story that goes left, there's a story that goes right.
Balance.
So if you're out there and things have happened to you and you're going through tough life, and what's your why? Why do you get up? You know, what's your why? Same thing in boxing. Daley said the person got knocked out and never came again. What was his why? What was his why? Was his why to become champ of the world? Or was his why because he saw other people doing boxing and he was like, I can do that? Was his why because I'm athletic? I think I've been great at that. Because then if you get punched, everyone thinks they're great until they get punched in the mouth, right? So then if your why is to, hey, I want to be the best at this, you learn from it, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself up. If you're depressed or sad about, you know, something's happened in your life or you've had some hard knocks, okay, what's your why? What's your why to keep going? Sometimes you might know, sometimes you don't know. There's loads of times in the last few years where I've been dark, even when I've had loads of like money and then money's gone down, and I've been months where I had no brand deals, I had nothing, I was low broke and I didn't know what to do, and I was running down on my last 10k. And like, I know people think, oh, you got 10k, but like when you live a certain life and expenses go down, you've got a car, you've got this, that 10k goes down very quickly, and you're thinking, where the hell was the next money coming from? When you have anxiety, you have to think to yourself, shit, and the room's dark, and you think, okay, do I sit and cry or get upset, or do I dust myself up? Because whether you sit and cry, tomorrow you're going to sit and cry. Next day you're going to sit and cry. The world still keeps spinning. The world keeps spinning. So I think you just got to pick yourself up and know what your why is. Why is it you want to do this? You know what I mean? Same reason I'm risking my face or whatever it is I'm risking. But
Here we go with
like,
that face again.
why is it I'm doing it? And I want to come in and I want to do tough things, because that why is the reason you do tough things to begin with. And you know, even if I know you just say rich people and people with PhDs and things like that, but like, I mean, look, life, everyone, you know, rich people want to get richer. What's their why? I think there's a level of conditioning. If you're if you're exposed to tough things, it conditions you and makes
Correct.
you more viable for other subjects or other sports. Correct. I mean, talk about golf. Tiger Woods, if you listen to Tiger Woods' interview, he said his mom teaches him to have a killer instinct. Again, but then Tiger Woods came into golf from coming from an environment where that spread into him. Do you know what I mean? Kill or be killed. So there's a line that Kendrick Lamar once said: "Who knew that in the darkness a flower could grow?"
Mm-hmm.
And I've got rich friends, and I think when I look at them and the problems they're having, the ones that get like inheritance and millions and stuff like that, it's not real problems. But what it is like, I say to them, look, you've had love and all that kind of stuff. You can grow, but I've not had any of that, so I can still grow. Do you know what I mean? I don't need as much nutrients. I don't need water. I don't need sunlight. I'm still growing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where it comes again. What's feelings got to do with it? You just gotta get on with it. Cause what else is there? what else is there? And to anyone, just last thing, I know I'm going on, sorry.
No, you're not. Go on.
To anyone out there that's going through a tough life and whatever, what keeps me going, and I was saying this today, this morning we went for a run, it's like, even, hey, this is tough. Hey, I'm losing money. Hey, I'm in this and this. But you know what? That's what makes a great story, which means
Correct.
this is part of the story. You know what I mean? So that should give you motivating that, hey, it's going to get better. Seasons last for a certain period of time. And you don't know how long, but just have faith and, you know, pray if you do pray, because I do every day, and you visualize it. Have faith, pray, put in the work. And then it will happen, because I know that all these things that happen, that makes a great story, innit? Do you know what I mean? When I'm interviewing you, when I'm with you right now, hey, like, I've been through tough stuff, and like, yeah, we can be sad about it in Austria and things like that, and getting bullied and stuff like that. That's strength for my mind. I am who I am. You can't tell me nothing. And that's what makes a great story. And the story's not done yet, so we keep going. But yeah, just tell yourself, you're just part of a movie, man. No one wants to watch a movie where you're just chilling and like everything goes well for you. That's a boring movie, isn't it? Zero to hero.
I like that. I like that. It's just one thing I do want to like go back over there, and I'm sorry to hear that happened to you, you know, as a kid, because when we were a kid, I guess that's when we're learning the most, but we're also at our most vulnerable, and those are the things that we tend to take with us through life, and decision making, risk assessments, like all of those things happen to us when we're kids. And I don't want to glaze over the fact that you had that treatment when you were young, because it wasn't right. But what you have shown, Kelz, is resilience. What you have shown is ambition and drive. And that's something to be commended. And like you said, sometimes in those dark places, in those bad places, that's where the most beautiful things are found. So it's good that you are an inspiration, just listening to what you've been through as a summary, not even in depth, is very inspiring. But I want to talk to you now. Listen, you didn't have to share that, but you did. So I really appreciate that. And that is that mindset that when you are getting hit in the face, if you know, when that happens, when the pressure is coming onto you, those things will probably flash back in your mind, and you'll remember how you got through it and why you got through it. And that's when you'll remember your why. That's when you hear Daley shouting, saying, dig deep. What are you here for? I've heard Daley in the gym, at fights. Those are the things that you need to channel back into and remember why the hell you started.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Sorry, Dave, I know you want to say something. One thing I missed out, one thing that's important is that everyone that's feeling broken, because I know it's easy to watch someone and be like, hey, I want to be like that, or this is some motivation and stuff like that. Being broken is part of it. That's normal. And I think I wish someone tells me that, because you have all these amazing stories of how someone makes it. If you read Shoe Dog or whatever by Phil Knight, who made Nike, feeling broken is essential. You have to be lost in order to be found. I've had to be broken in order to put yourself back together and become stronger. So if you're in that situation, that is normal. You're on the right track. Don't think that people like me or Daley or you wake up in the morning, hey, I'm motivated. I'm going to run 5-6 miles. I'm not in the dark place anymore. I'm strong. I'm strong. We don't wake up like that. It happens over a long period of time of losses and wins and losses. Mainly losses. A lot of hard work. It's like, I was saying, hey, I've been training for like 9 months to do one fight that takes 4 rounds in 3 minutes. 99% of it is just pain and grind for that 1% pinnacle, and then you're back again to the drawing board. So feeling lost and broken is part of it. That's how you get found. That's how me and Daley get to the people we are. And to say the most successful people, the one thing that's wrong with them is they haven't got an off button. They are broken. If you do your research on the people that you admire and I wish I could be motivated as that, they all came from broken places.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's why people, even right now, on this video right now, will never know if I'm depressed or going through it or not, you know? So when it comes to my why is shown. All you have to do is go and look at my page. All you have to do is come to the gym, and all you have to do is just hear me speak, You know, my why is in my actions, in what I do. You know what I mean? My pain is in what I do, and that's why I'm so ferocious and I'm so intense when it comes to what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we don't want you to change that anyway. And before he's obviously disappeared, this I want to ask about getting this opponent, because obviously we've got to speak about Tolbs. You've got the press conference coming up later on, which I'm looking at. I'm looking forward to it. I was looking through your socials, Kelz. I was looking through Big Tolbs' socials. As you know, I spoke to Big Tolbs' coach, and the one thing that stood out to me, you know what?
Is my camera still showing? Sorry.
Yeah, your camera's still showing.
Go on.
How did you come to choose that fight, or that fight get agreed? We'll start there, and then I want to speak about what's happened after.
I didn't have a say in the fight.
Oh.
The only say I had was obviously yes or no. Are you available? Are you not? Mams and the guys who run everything decided that. That's simple as that, really.
Daley, any say from yourself, or is it more or less the same?
Oh, yeah, because obviously Misfits is a bit different to like pro boxing, because I manage my fighters so I can guide their careers. Within Misfits, they're all kind of guiding their own careers. So when an opponent appears and it gets told, I'm like, okay, all right, time to train. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what happened in Nando's the other day? Because obviously Tolbs was like saying, "Oh, you're doing this for the gram, you're doing this for the internet." When obviously you stepped to him, what happened? Getting the camera out, going up to him, giving him a bit of an intense shoulder rub. Guys, you can check it out on Instagram. It's there. Kalichi, his profile. It's there.
Yeah. Nando's, you know what? Listen, Nando's. Like, we had the media workout, and just across the media workout, literally across, there's a Nando's. And I said to Daley, let's get some chicken. I'm hungry. We walked into Nando's. Obviously, Tobes had a media workout as well. I didn't know he was already in Nando's. We walked in and saw him. Look, like, it's not for the cameras. I'm me. I just said, look, Daley, just let's get it. Like, just capture this moment, because I know me. Look, we're in battle. It's psychological welfare. Do you know what I mean? I'm taking food off your plate. In American football, we play mind games to get into people's heads. It's an animal kingdom. It's dominance. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you react to that? How did he react to it? He just sat there and took it. I was grabbing it up, just like, it's.
But he wrote you a song.
I know. Do you know what's funny? He's been my fan for quite a while, actually.
Oh.
Last month, so I've had this tattoo on my forearm, lion on the crown, right? I've had this for years. Last month, the guy gets the same tattoo, lion on the crown on his forearm. I messaged him.
You know what's funny? I analyze the most smallest of details, especially because I'm autistic as well. I focus on such vivid details. When he was doing that in Nando's, there was one part in what he done is when he had his both hands on his shoulders and he was shaking them. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, if he can use that kind of, use his physique and his size to his advantage in the fight, and then it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Because the way he shook him like that, it was like, in that department, it looked like there was no match. You know what I mean? So I was looking at that detail there. I was like, look how easily he's manhandling him like that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I would never let a man manhandle me like that. You understand?
It's not even just that, but like when you I've got big hands, yeah. When you have someone's hands cover your whole shoulders, yeah, it gets in your head.
I thought you look big.
What's like? It's not many people that can grab my shoulders like that. Do you know what I mean? And then it's just like, because you can talk all that. You can say, hey, I think in the media workout he says that he punches harder than me. My mum called me up last night and goes like, "What's this guy on?" Like, my mum called me. She's like, "What's this guy on?" I can hear your punches in the background while he's being interviewed. You can say whatever it is you want, but deep inside, like.
Yeah, because if I was him, if I was in that moment and I felt that, I'm going back to the hotel room thinking, freaking hell, man. You know what I mean? He's fucking strong.
So we're going to get some, well, potentially then, if it goes into the clinch Daley, if they're inside and we're talking about clinching, because obviously I know Daley would have taught you that, you reckon he'll rag him around like a rag doll? Sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth now, but you know what I mean.
That's the key, man. The key is to like be smart, be intelligent. You know me, be smart, be intelligent, use your IQ, but also someone like Kelz with the size he has, you got to stamp your authority and let them know in the right moments. Let them know, listen, you can't rough me up. I'm the bigger guy here. You understand what I'm saying? So
How heavy are you, if you don't mind me asking? I won't ask about your shoe size or anything. I've seen your forearm, but how heavy are you?
As in like kg or pounds?
Whatever you feel comfortable telling me. I know what the equivalent are.
Kg 120 pounds.
Oh my God, you are heavy.
66, yeah, big boy.
Gosh,
big boy.
he's huge. What is it like taking him on the pads then, Daley? Do you feel that the wrist, the shock, the backhand?
yeah, he's got power. He's got power because he's sparring a pro, you know, before coming here. That I saw, and the pro didn't like his shots.
I know you're not going to tell me names, but how experienced was this pro?
Yeah,
Can you tell me that?
Yeah, he had decent amount of fights.
Well, he hasn't lost any. Put it that way. It was like, what was it, like 8-0, 7-0?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but you know when you hit someone and then when you're experienced in boxing, you know their whole demeanor changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If Kelz can do what he's supposed to do and set up those shots, because it's heavyweight boxing. What is it? You set things up and boom. You know what I mean? So if he does that, yeah, if he doesn't go down, it will change. His whole demeanor will change, and then that will set the tone for what's going to come next. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like a bit of pressure though, Daley? And I'm saying this because obviously you've had a fighter go up against Tobes' fighter before and come up short. Do you feel like you've got a point to prove? I know you're competitive. See, look, he's smiling. Just be honest.
The thing is, I know what you're saying, but I don't like getting caught up in. I know it's Misfits and everyone wants the bloody Misfits entertainment, but I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I'm not the fighter. You understand? I'm not.
I know you'd get back in that ring tomorrow if you could. I know what you like, Daley.
Exactly. And I don't take it to heart, that loss to
you don't?
No.
That competitive streak doesn't kick in with you at all.
No,
like,
at the
I
time,
need to get one back on him.
At the night, after the fight, very night, when we're processing, I'm like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? But then, obviously, as I said, I'm not stupid as well. I know Kenny's inexperienced and he's on a journey to get better and be a student of the game. So it's about for that loss there. It weren't about it was about getting back in the gym on the Monday.
All right.
And let's improve. Do you know what I mean? Because in this space here, that's what I'm saying. Then they haven't got the experience as like what the pro boxers have been through. In it. So it's about you just got to shake things off and you just got to go again. So I don't take it personal, and stuff like that. So when it's not me versus Luke Groves. It's Kelz versus.
Called him George Groves. Yeah, I got George Groves.
It's Kelz versus Tobes. You know what I mean?
All right. No, I hear that, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Ideally, then,
if Kelz can please knock out Tobes, that would be lovely jubbly.
Do you see what I mean? The thing is, I know Daley, and that's the issue here. I know he's extremely competitive because he's an ex-fighter. What will it mean to you then, Kelz, if you go in there and you get a stoppage on your debut, and then after we were going to go into some predictions and then close, because I know you got to get ready for the presser?
I think, me personally, he won't know that until the guy's laying on the floor.
All right.
got a job to do, and I've done it. You know, I know it's all big. It's Kelz versus Tobes and stuff like that. But for where I want to go in Misfits and the name I want to build, I've got to go through him. It's just a domino falling. I don't really care who it is. It's just got to go through. I can't get too excited about this one thing, because the job's not done. And for where we need to go, it's got to be smashing through people. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's going to be good. It's going to validate what we and everyone sees in me when they look at me, which is good. It's gonna. But again, job's not done. We're going to keep getting better. Do you know what I mean? And you know what it is? It's one of those things like Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And I'm going to use a football analogy here. We see Cristiano Ronaldo who he is. But then for him to get there, that's when he plays on the Sunday League, for example, when he first started, you've got to look at this person and go, like, this guy's out of this world. He doesn't belong here. Do you know what I mean? He can't be like, hey, he's just fitting in, he's standing out a little bit. He's got to be out of this world. So this fight,
better than average.
This fight just announces that. Do you know what I mean? You're going, okay, cool. It's going to wake people. What? Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to be,
How
okay.
do black men eat chicken? Tobes is the chicken.
What the hell?
You got to munch him up.
I don't know what to say, but that's an analogy, yeah.
Down to the bone.
Yeah. And what about the marrow?
Everything.
Yeah. In fact, let's not go down to the marrow, because there's a certain way you eat that. But right, I'm gonna ask for.
Shit.
Sorry. No, you started it.
You can tell this fight means a lot to Daley. It doesn't, does it?
But then he encourages me, and then we just both end up in the sewers.
I'm just looking down at both of you. I'm out of this. I'm just.
But no. But in all seriousness, you know, just like you know my fighters' abs. You know they're killers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all say it. That's what we say. We actually talk about. You know, you can't take the chicken out of the oven before it's cooked. Do you know what I mean?
So you're gonna cook him, Kelz.
Cook him, boil him, grill
him, cook him.
That's where everything, in every way. That's how
violence, spite.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I told him earlier on the run.
Go on.
This is a sport, and we listen. Remember, don't take this the wrong way when I say this.
Go on.
We don't want anyone to die in a boxing ring, and we want everyone to go home to their families. Yeah. But at the same time, this is a sport that you have a license
to kill.
Yeah, to kill and inflict bodily harm, and you don't go to prison for it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that killer mindset, and then it's a wrap, because that person standing across with you, they're gonna have it in their brain to want to inflict bodily harm on you. So yeah, that's the mindset you got to come with every time. You know what I mean? So I might look calm. I might have a few jokes here and there, but you know me, Ads. When it's time for that ring walk, it's war.
Out. Yeah.
It's war. We lock in. You preserve everything until that moment. And now it's war. You know what I mean? You're really going to hurt someone. It ain't no joke. And that's why you see me do all those speeches before the fights with all the fighters, because they have to understand this is kill or be killed.
Go in as well, yeah.
This is wartime, man. This is wartime. You can't run out of the ring. Well, you can, but you're going to look like an idiot. But you can't run out of that ring.
Can you imagine? Yeah. No, sir. Well, listen, I'm going to ask for predictions, because you've mentioned Don Charles. Don Charles is training, obviously, Daniel Dubois, who's going up against Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to start back. We're going to go back to Kelz. Talk to me about that fight and how you think it ends. And I want to see if you can be non-biased. I'm very biased. I don't care. I'll say it.
Listen, non-biased, biased. Like Daniel Dubois is winning it. Daniel's got to win it. He's winning it. I think Unk's Don Charles.
Yeah, you remembered.
Yeah. Look, I've watched the last fight with Daniel Dubois and Hergovic.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? And look, the shots they were both exchanging at the end, There was serious blows. I've never seen AJ exchange blood. Like literally, it's like everyone's up front, no defense, bang, 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 bang. I haven't seen AJ do that. I haven't seen AJ take shots like that and actually stand. So if it gets to that and everyone's tired and arms are tired and we can't put you up and Dubois is exchanging blows, Dubois is gonna win that. Do you know what I mean? So it's Team Daniel.
Daley.
Well, the thing is, what I love about it, that's an all British clash.
Yes.
And I'm British. So
British Nigerian again, isn't it?
Yeah. British Nigerian. Anthony Joshua's British Nigerian. So in that sense, like, I'll be happy for either one of them that wins for British boxing. You know what I mean? It's British boxing at the home stadium, Wembley Stadium. There's a few factors though. Obviously, a lot of people are saying Anthony Joshua's back, and if this Anthony Joshua, no one can beat this Anthony Joshua. But who was his last fight?
Ngannou, isn't it?
Ngannou. So that's not any preparation for Daniel Dubois. Someone like Ngannou. Ngannou is not a boxer. Yeah. So you've got that point there, but then on Daniel's side of things, because I have to play devil's advocate, is when I analyze things, I'm like analyzing things that they sometimes do wrong. And although Daniel Dubois has done well and he's come back and he's had adversity and all that, which you need, which I think will help him in this fight, there's still little question marks there as well. Because of some of the few fights that obviously he's,
looked at the corner to get out.
Yeah, and he took a knee in one of them, and there's question marks in world boxing, whether if the going gets tough, will he be looking for a way out or not? You know what I mean? Then what I didn't like in that Hrgovic fight is the right hands.
Yeah.
The right hands that he was getting caught with time and time again. And Joshua, we know what his right hand does, and it's not a Hrgovic. It's not a Hrgovic
finisher.
Yeah, it's not a Hrgovic right hand. You know what I mean? So it's about weighing up that. Has Daniel Dubois got Joshua at the right time? Because, people are blinded by the fact that he KO'd Ngannou, but it's Ngannou. So has he had the right preparation? And has Daniel Dubois finally ready for someone like Anthony Joshua? Which I think he is, because if he's got that mindset and he's used those lessons that he's had, the ones where he took a knee, he's been a couple of hard fights, like Usyk, you know what I mean? I know he lost that, but, he done well in that fight up until the point. Then, the Hrgovic fight, he had to overcome it. Even Big Baby Miller.
Yeah.
He had to go through stuff in that fight.
That's where he wanted to prove it to all of us that he wasn't the nicknames that everyone was giving him.
So I'm slightly leaning towards Daniel Dubois based on that he's had better preparation.
As in opposition
lately than Anthony Joshua. I don't think fighting Ngannou is a good dancing partner to prepare for Daniel Dubois.
What about overall experience, though? Do you put that in there when it comes to like overall experience with all of the opponents in one basket, or is that not wise to do? You judge it by the last 3 or 4 fights.
Of course, and this is why I only say slight, because it's one of those. It's one of those ones. Is Daniel Dubois gonna come of age now and mature? And I know he's got the world title, but he kind of got given it, didn't he? Because
I ain't getting into IBF.
Is he gonna come of age and be like, now I'm the face of British boxing? AJ's time is done. Do you know what I mean? Or is AJ gonna say, I'm still here to stay because I've got unfinished business? With Usyk, if Usyk beats Fury, and then if Fury wins, he's got that clash with Fury as well. So it's a very tough one. I ain't gonna lie. This is one that is very hard to predict. You know what I mean? Or who's gonna win this fight? But obviously, for Don Charles, I want him to win that fight.
Yeah, I hear that, and I hear that when you're talking about the coaches.
I think Don Charles deserves to. This is the one for Don Charles. This is the one for Don Charles as a trainer.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I agree with that because, you're asking me between AJ and well, for me, I'm Team Don Charles. Do you know what I mean? That's my main priority. You have to. I'm a loyal person to that. So, whatever's it could have been reversed and AJ's training with Don Charles, whatever. Like whatever's good for Don Charles, it's good for me. That's the main thing for me.
This is it for Don Charles, man. You got to remember, he's come so close.
Yeah, we've used it.
To being a world champion, with fighters.
Yeah, unified as well.
Yeah. And obviously, I know Daniel Dubois got the IBF, but it's because, he got...
Given it
because Usyk had to give it up.
Yeah.
So that's why I want Don Charles to win this fight,
outright.
For him, I know Daniel's Daniel, but for Don Charles to win this as a trainer, this is the fight for Don Charles.
It's huge.
And then he wins it, and then he fights Usyk, and then he wins his time. Imagine that. That'd be funny.
And I think he can, because I thought that body shot was legit.
So did I.
Yeah.
But we could go into the technicalities of that. But what I will say, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really would like to do this again. It's been interesting. I've enjoyed it. It's been an honor to meet you as well, Kelz. Or Kelechi. I like that name, Kelechi, actually. Is that how you say it? Sorry.
Kelechi.
Sorry, that's the Nigerian. You got to chop it in, haven't you? Kelechi.
Yeah.
It's not
Kelechi.
Japanese, it's Nigerian. Kelechi.
Correct.
Yeah. But it's been a pleasure. I wish you all the best on Saturday.
Maybe catch him on the flip side.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll come back and we'll do it again, and we'll sit down and we'll regroup, and then I can hear about that cherry officially being popped. And Daley, well, I've got away with many things. Words is one of them. Daley, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much. Because, like I said, I know both of you got media commitments. Thank you to everyone in the chat that has joined in, those that have listened as well. I appreciate the lot of you. I'm thinking about doing a live watch along for this Misfits fight. I'm thinking about it because it will be exciting because it's crazy. I can't be there, but I might do a live watch along. But either or, I'll catch you on, what do we call it? The wild side, the other side. And you know what we say at October Red. Stay ready.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.